Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com. Hey y'all, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Mary Payne. It's Thursday. It's Bravo Breakdown. You guys, we had to wait till Thursday to record this. We have to during the Vanderpump season because we got a lot to talk about. I've got Ingrid here, producer Ingrid, as you know her. We're going to discuss the first part of the reunion of Vanderpump Rules, and we're going to quickly touch on Teresa's hair and the New Jersey reunion situation, even though I really didn't want to. Ingrid's making me. Ingrid, how you doing? Where's Paige?
Oh, I'm great. Paige is literally sitting right by my butt, sleeping. So we're going to just hope that that continues.
I hope she sleeps and doesn't snort because she has a snorting disorder.
She may snore. Yes, she snores very loudly.
This is her dog, not her child, by the way.
Yeah, this is my dog.
What if we were just talking about your kid that way?
Oh my God,
that kid is awful.
That would be fabulous, wouldn't it? Oh my God. Yeah, no, I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Thanks, you guys. You guys are just the best. You're the best listeners. You're very supportive of producer Ingrid all the time, even when I screw up. So I appreciate it.
It's not often. You don't screw up very often.
Well, you know.
I mean, you know.
I know.
It's the thankless job, what you got going over there. It's a thankless job.
Well, you know what? I sit down when I pee, like Louis, so it works out okay over here.
Ew.
Could you believe he said that?
No, I don't remember him saying. I told you I barely paid attention because I do not care.
I watched it, but here's the thing. We don't have to stay on it for very long, but you know that there were like 3 reasons that I wanted to talk about it. One, the wedding looked like a big nightmare for me because, I mean, it was gorgeous. It was beautiful, but it was 93 degrees or something. That is my biggest nightmare. And
they waited for the sun to go down for everybody, so that everybody sat, and then they waited for the sun to go behind the building before Teresa came out. Yeah.
Oh my God, I know. And it looked like they had that like chapel thing, whatever it was, set up in case it rained. And I was like, oh my God, just move it inside. The sweat. And why, like the bridesmaids' dresses, they must have been sweating through them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Listen, I don't want to get graphic here because, this is a family show.
Well, why not? Yeah, it's not a family show.
The crotch sweat in those pink satin dresses.
What about the underboob sweat?
The underboob, the crotch sweat, and Jen Aiden with the sleeve all the way down. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so the heat, my God, the heat.
Mm-hmm.
The personal trainer.
Oh my God, that woman. First of all, I was like,
oh my God, if anybody's getting married next year, let me know.
No, that's not even it. It was more like, hey, pass me a Chardonnay, motherfuckers.
I know.
It was more like that. It was more like big dick energy. I was terrified of her.
When Maddie, my older daughter, and I went to Laguna Beach last year for spring break for like a couple of days, we went to this consignment store. I love consignment shopping. We've talked about that before.
Yes.
And the girl who was working in there, the woman who was working in there, was a sister of that personal trainer. And she just talked and talked. She had this real big Jersey accent. And so I was like, you're not from here? Because I talk to people. And I was like, your accent doesn't really sound like California. And she's like, no, I'm from Jersey. And I go, do you know the Housewives? And she's like, actually, my sister trained Teresa for that fitness competition.
Oh.
And I was like,
wow, full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's she doing over there in Orange County?
I don't know, but it's a beautiful little shop. I mean, beautiful. Like it had like real high end stuff. Yeah. But anyway, she was lovely. But boy, that trainer, she was not messing around with her tan or her voice or any of it.
At one point, she did a toast. And I was like, whole boob is coming out.
Okay, so the third reason I had to talk about this was the reception.
Mm-hmm.
That's a reception I can get behind.
Well, right when I saw the girls with the pasties, I was like, oh, this is some shit Ingrid would like. You guys, Ingrid loves a burlesque. She loves anything naked. She loves a naked trapeze, anything, all of it. And I was watching it like, this is so inappropriate for a wedding. I understand that I understood the idea if she wanted it to be sexy and the girl in the martini glass and the hanging and all that. I got all that. But the burlesque with the pasties and whatnot, not appropriate for a wedding where there are children there.
That was a bridge too far for me as well. And I mean, I love a burlesque. I do. I love it. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we could have. I'm sorry. But we could have just been okay with the, contortionist in a martini glass and a sword swallower and some dancers.
I didn't need the sword swallower either. I was like, is it a circus? Is it a burlesque show? Is it a trapeze show? What's happening?
Oh my God. It's all three, Mary Payne. It's all three.
It's all three. It's a circus, burlesque, trapeze show, but it was too much. It was too much for mommy. It was a lot for mommy. I was like, nope.
Anyway, so that's all I have to say about that.
Okay. I feel like can you look at the bottom and you see your little lines going up and down?
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like you're on a 10. You're on a 10. You might need to back up or tamp your enthusiasm down.
Oh, I see. Yours look pretty tall too, no?
Yeah, but you can see like when I'm talking, they're like regular and yours are like, hello.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just be back here then.
Okay, we're just doing a little
sound check
on the fly editing. You guys, I've moved my office around a little bit because I got new wallpaper today, and I'm so freaking excited about it. It's I walked in here and I was like, oh my God, it's all happening. It's all coming together.
It's really gorgeous. Let me describe it. It's like pink, sort of like peonies. I think those are peonies or like cabbage roses.
But they're giant.
They're quite large. And like maybe blue. What are those flowers? Are those like hydrangeas, do we think?
The blue looks like hydrangeas to me.
Yeah. And then it's like a navy background, or is it black? I can't tell.
It's navy.
Okay, navy background. And then there's some green, kind of a lightish green kind of sprinkled in like the leaves. It's quite stunning.
I'll post a picture.
Post a picture. I was going to say, if one put that in the whole room,
it'd be too much.
It would be a lot, but it's like, it would be great for like a half bath. If you did the whole half bath like that, or like your accent wall, it's great. It's really very cool.
It is my accent wall. And I did want to put it over there on that other wall so it would wrap around. And Eileen, my decorator, was like, absolutely not. That's too much. You'll get a headache in this room. So we're doing it like this, and I'm working it out. And my office has been a work in progress for a long time. But it's all, in the words of Scheana Shay, it's all happening. So that puts us into Vanderpump Rules, unless you have anything else to say. I will say that it was interesting about Teresa's hair, of course, which broke the internet. But I do think that as it was going up and up and up, she was less and less happy with it.
I thought so too.
And
I got that impression too. But she was too like, it's sort of like once you start down that road, it's over.
And I think that Heather McDonald said on her podcast that she said something to Teresa about it. Like, it seems to me that maybe it was like it was bigger than you wanted, or once you were there, you were already a little bit pregnant. You couldn't like back out of it. And she was like, that's exactly right. Like, it wasn't, they talked about it, but it certainly wasn't in her mind that big. But I did love the reactions of the people at the wedding. Were like, whoa, it's like she's going to topple over. Or even Louis going like, it just kept going and going. Like it was a dramatic. It was received as we received it.
Yeah. And, I get what she was going for. And that headpiece, that crown thing really did demand kind of like a big hair situation. But wow, man, 1,500 bobby pins, and like it looked heavy. Like
$10,000 worth of hair or something crazy.
Your neck would be tired at the end of the night, or like sore, right? I don't know.
Yeah, and she could just sit and have somebody take that out for an hour or two.
Yeah,
relief.
It was just a lot. It was just a big commitment, that hair.
Yeah, I did feel not a fan of Louis, and just can't wait for the reunion.
Why did it feel like when all those groomsmen were in the room, it was kind of like I was just waiting for one of them to like start doing a motivational speech and talk about like leveling up. It just feels like that's that group of guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dr. Aiden's in there like, I'm a surgeon. Like, why am I in here with these bunch of guys?
With these people who are like probably selling like Amway supplements.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
It's what's it called? It's what Jen Shaw went to prison for. It is
like embezzle. Oh.
No, it's called it'll come to me in a minute because he's lead generation marketing. Because he said it. Said it on Watch What Happens Live. Yeah, I'm in lead generation marketing. Andy's like, yeah, not great. Andy was literally like, ooh, don't say that.
I think it really is sort of that like, I'm going to help you make your multi-level marketing business work. Just follow my steps, and it's like, well, when the first business is semi-scam and then the second business is semi-scam, that's 2 half scams. That's a full scam. Like
full scam.
Let's just call it a day. He just, I feel like I want to like him. I want to feel like he's genuine, but it just doesn't. It feels like he's love bombing still, even up to the wedding, and then what happens after the wedding? I don't know.
I don't like him.
Bad feeling.
Have y'all heard that phrase, happy wife, happy life? How about happy plant, happy home? Listen, I got the happy wife, happy life part, but the happy plant, happy home, not so much. I've never been able to keep a plant alive or know what kind of tree to do, anything. I always rely on other people to tell me, or you dread that Saturday. You have to go to the nursery and haul some huge, batch of soil and all that home. Okay, listen, here's how I've solved all your problems. You're going to go to fastgrowingtrees.com. It has completely changed my thought process on how to get a tree. So you go to their website. I typed in my zip code. It said I'm zone 7. I don't know what that means. I don't have to know. It told me. Then I selected full sun because our front yard is so stinking hot in the summer. It's like the doorknob burns you when you touch it. So I chose full sun and zone 7, and then it gave me a bunch of trees to choose from, but you can also choose plants or shrubs or whatever. We wanted trees. I chose crepe myrtles, even though magnolias were an option. My mom told me to do crepe myrtles, so I have to do what my mom says. We're going to put one on each side of our house. I'm so excited. I think they're called scarlet crepe myrtles. We're going to get them here this week. They're going to be 2 to 3 feet. I'll post about them on Instagram. And then they're going to grow like to the size of our house. And then if I screw it up, which, it's a possibility that I might, they have a 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee. So, everything's going to look great, fresh out of the box. And then you're going to be able to plant it, or let's just be honest, I'm going to get my son to plant it. And then as soon as I'm going to have a big tree next to my house. So join over 1.5 million happy, fast-growing trees customers, soon to be 1.5 million and one. That's me. Go to fastgrowingtrees.com/pinkshade to get 15% off your entire order. So 15% off is a lot, especially because this is not like some super expensive website. So fastgrowingtrees.com/pinkshade and you'll get 15% off your order. Thanks. All right, let's go into Vanderpump Rules. I took some notes sort of as we went through, and then I watched this morning, guys. I watched the Pumped Up edition on Peacock. Highly recommend. What it is it's the same show, but no bleeping. So you see Andy Cohen like getting in James Kennedy's face going, sit the fuck down. And you hear Lisa Vanderpump cursing. Everyone's cursing, and there's no beeping. So it's like, when James Kennedy is calling Sandoval, a pussy bitch, shut the fuck up, fuck you, all that is in there. And it hits different when you hear the words.
When there's no bleeps.
When there's no bleeps and you can really hear what they're saying. Sometimes we've seen, we've gotten screeners and things and before they bleep out the words of some TLC shows and stuff. And it's like, whoa.
Oh, I never thought about that.
You can hear the vitriol in it when it's not bleeped.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so tell me this. When they said pumped up version, or maybe that was me or you or
no, that's
how they advertised it. Okay, yeah. Pumped up version. Is it longer?
So it was 56 minutes on Peacock, no commercials.
So yeah, it had to be longer then.
So I'm wondering if the reunion last night, was it 1 hour or was it 1 hour and 15 minutes?
It was an hour last night.
It was an hour.
And then with ads, which we can cover too. The ads.
Yeah, so that would make it about 42 minutes.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I mean, maybe all the swearing just added in like a 15 extra minutes or something, but I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, I didn't see anything in it that I didn't see last night. Nothing was in it like, oh my God, I didn't see that last night. It's all the same. It just maybe stretched out. I don't know. Maybe there was more at the beginning. I don't know. But anyway, I highly recommend watching that.
Those one-on-ones, maybe those went a little longer. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to let you take it away. You took much detailed notage. So,
I was trying, but during the live show last night during Vanderpump Rules, when I was watching it live, my DVR would not let me pause when I was watching it live. It would not let me pause.
Now, was that because you were taping 2 other things or something like that? Or
no, I don't think so. It's never happened before.
Wow.
I kept hitting pause so I could take a note, and it would flip right back to live every time. So I was like,
ugh.
Wow, I don't know what that's about.
Well,
anyway,
that's just a test of your, I don't know, professional acumen.
Sure.
And I'm sure you passed.
We'll see. I probably won't be able to read what any of this says. So we start off, it says, in a reunion first, Andy sits down with the principals of the scandal. So he does a one-on-one with Ariana and Tom and Raquel. So the first thing we see really is Andy telling Tom, so you're the most hated man on television. How's that feel? And Tom's like, yeah, man. Yeah. And then Andy asks him, when did it start? And he says it was not after guys' night at the Mondrian. It was at the next See You Next Tuesday when they all went afterwards to the Abbey. So Tom, did not go to See You Next Tuesday, but that's when Allie and James were there and then saw them at the Abbey. That's when Allie broke the story, basically.
Did James see them as well, or was it just Allie? It felt like it was just Allie that saw them.
James never chimed in to say that he saw them.
Maybe he wasn't there. Maybe it was like Allie and her girlfriends or something. But I would think anybody at the Abbey would have seen this happening, the smoochy smooch, and it would have been out in a second. But I don't know, maybe like what happens at the Abbey stays at the Abbey. I really don't know.
Well, I'll be interested today to listen to Lala's podcast and Kristen's. I've been listening to them every week, and they give all the details. Kristen can even give more because she's not under any kind of contract. But on the other podcast, some girl named Jamie, I can't remember, I listened to it at the beginning. She's in that group. She was with the whole group after guys' night at the Mondrian. They had gone somewhere, and she took a video of Sandoval and Raquel talking on the curb. She and her friend were taking a video, and they were like going like, oh yeah, Raquel, what do you think? And they were like doing the voices, what they thought they were saying.
That's right.
And then they were like, we're going to post it. It's hilarious. And they're like, it seems kind of weird. Maybe Ariana wouldn't like that. So they didn't.
Right. Jamie all over.
Jamie all over.
All over. Yeah.
And so that's interesting.
Yeah. So I was really interested in the timeline as well. So I kind of was writing down during the show throughout when they reference dates. So it sounds like July 2022, Sandoval's feeling unfulfilled and sad and whatever in the relationship with Ariana. And he confided in Schwartz, obviously, but also Raquel. Like
he confided in Raquel after guys' night. Now remember, Raquel left the Vegas trip because Ariana had left the Vegas trip because her dog of 18 years, Charlotte, had died.
Yeah.
So Raquel is like confiding in Sandoval about how unhappy he is with Ariana, her friend. And Ariana had literally had to put her dog down that day with Tom. With Tom.
Yeah. Well, no, but I think he started talking to Raquel about this stuff in July, and guys' night was August. And so anyway, whatever. It doesn't really, but I think that their quote relationship, friendship started, and then pretty soon after it turned into, you know, what it was. But I love how the timelines didn't quite match up in the individual, like sitting down in the chair with Andy versus the group. Like Schwartz said, oh yeah, I knew in late August. And Sandoval was like, what, dude? It was like mid to late January. Oh, geez.
Well, it's like Katie says, like, for once in your life, tell the truth.
You can't manage, you can't coach or manage this. You have to just tell the truth.
But also, Schwartz said, and maybe this was only on the pumped up version, I don't know, but Schwartz said that Scheana said on the reunion, Scheana said that Raquel had told her that Sandoval said in the hot tub after Coachella that she said that he and Ariana were in an open relationship. And Scheana was like, because he was floating the idea to Raquel, like, we're in an open relationship. And
I do not remember that. I do not remember that from last night. That's kind of crucial information. Andy put that in the show.
And Sandoval's like, I didn't say that. No, I didn't. And Scheana goes, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. He's like, no, I didn't. I wouldn't even float that. And Ariana's like, I'd like to make it super clear. Like, that was never the case. Not once ever. We were never in an open relationship. So him saying that to other people he's like, I didn't say that. Scheana's like, Raquel said you did. Yeah. So Tom explains this timeline, what he says the timeline is. Mm-hmm. And Andy says, were you together when you went glamping? And we see some of the clips of glamping. And he said, no, they weren't together at the time. They had that bone in the car.
One night stand.
One night stand in August. And he says in September is when they went to Life is Beautiful, which was September of 2020. It was some sort of they love mushrooms and a music festival. Love it. They went to some sort of Life is Beautiful music festival. And we see a picture of them with Raquel on his shoulders. Ariana was not there, I think. And then Andy says, well, I was at BravoCon, which now we're in October. I was at BravoCon on the front row of your band with Ariana and Raquel. And there's like, ting, ting, ting. We see the, the arrows of the picture. And he says, like, you look out in the audience and you see your girlfriend there and your mistress dancing next to each other. Are you like getting off on that? He's like, dude, no, man, no, dude, no. And Andy's like, I love how Amy Phillips plays Tom Sandoval as a teenage boy with a mouth guard.
Yes.
She plays him like, Dad, shut up, Dad.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
Do you remember, of course you do, but a lot of listeners might be too young, 16 Candles?
Of course.
And when the geek wakes up in the morning in the back of the convertible with Molly Ringwald, and he's, Mom, I got my mouth guard in.
Yeah, he's got his head here. Yeah.
That is what I think about whenever I hear Tom Sandoval speak.
God,
Mom, I got it in.
There's this TikTok guy that does like teenage boys, and it's always like, bro, you capping. No, God, Mom, I don't want to unload the dishwasher. Why are you being a butt? And he was exactly like how my son talks. Every time he posts a new one, I send it to my son. John's like, bro, that's pretty accurate. I'm like, yeah, bro, it is.
Bro, any 40-year-old man who uses the word bro as much as that guy, like,
all
whoa,
the time.
What's happening? Anyway, so he does say, Sandoval says, in fall of 2022, they were spending an, quote, inappropriate amount of time together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what he thought was going to happen.
Right.
After,
well, nobody in this situation thinks it through. No one thinks it through.
No, that's true. But they had already done it once. Right. So like the build up to doing it again was probably just like kind of tingling and exciting, right? Like, I don't know.
She said, I never had sex with somebody that I was in love with before. So I was thinking like, I loved him as a friend. So that would be fun.
Mary Payne,
what is wrong with you, you fucking psychopath?
Listen,
what?
I love you as a friend very much, and I have for I don't know almost 20 years.
Yeah,
19 years. I don't want to have sex with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that because
I
hope mutual.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm hoping that you feel the same way, but I also think it's such a strange thing to say.
She's so strange. So Tom tells us that he and Ariana, always had a pact to keep their relationship private. And Kristen confirmed that on her podcast. She said from the beginning, they had a pact. They would never show anything negative. They would only be positive. They would never say they would never air any of their dirty laundry publicly on this show. Like
Right.
when you think of, Schwartz and Katie, it's nothing but drama, or James and Raquel, or James and Kristen, whoever. And they made a pact that they would be above it. In the beginning of their relationship, any interview they did together was so insufferable. It was like Tom going, yeah, like when we go on vacation, like Jax goes to Cabo and like steals sunglasses. And Ariana and I are like, we're trying to explore the land that we're in. Like we are going to these, indigenous burial sites and like taking in the culture.
Yeah.
They were so insufferable, the two of them being so above it all, and he says that's why they kept their relationship private. And even though they had issues, they put up a front during filming. And he even talked to their showrunner about it. And we get a clip of him saying, we're not showing everything and this feels inauthentic.
Right.
How does Paige feel about that? Paige is barking.
She's barking at empty bookshelves as per usual. So I just texted my family to come and get her.
Paige does, in fact, bark at the empty bookshelves. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
so,
right. And I think that he said, I felt bad for not putting everything out there because the rest of the cast was putting everything out there.
He's been manipulating this for years. Every single person on this show says that he has been doing this from the beginning. Everything about him is so producing himself.
Sure.
It's exactly what you want to see. That's why whenever he's been caught in anything, that's why he goes and like, dude, stop, mom. I've got to entertain her, because he doesn't like to get caught.
Right. He's like
controlled.
He's a belligerent teenager, really.
And he's very he's masterminding everything. And Kristen's like, just like he used to coach me in what to say, he has coached Ariana in what to say. He is now coaching Raquel in what to say. And she's probably too dumb to remember the script,
Yeah, that was sort of sad. But I mean, maybe true, but right. Well, Ariana said, though, on the other hand, she felt like she showed everything about the relationship.
Well, I think she
maybe
feels like
now, maybe in the last few years, maybe not at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I couldn't tell what the push-pull on that was. You know what I mean?
Well, Tom tears up, and Andy's like, how do you feel about going out there today? And he's like, I just feel really nervous, but, I'm ready to face it. And in the words of Danny Pellegrino, he wipes his face with his white nail grippers. Danny Pellegrino's like, he's put that shoe polish on those grippers. And we don't know. He's like, he's ruined white nail polish for all of us. That's for fucking sure.
Do you remember?
I love a white nail polish in the summer. I'm not going to be able to do it now.
Oh, dear. Oh, I know you do. I know you do love a white nail polish. I remember like in 5th grade using whiteout, painting whiteout on my nails. And that's what his looks like, I think.
Yeah.
It's a weird white.
He's getting that done every week. He's doing gel. He's got, So Ariana says, when talking to Andy, she says she was more surprised about Raquel than Tom, of course, because with a guy, you could expect it. Because with a guy, guys are shit. And Andy's like, I concur.
Yeah.
And Ariana says, from my point of view, I have showed everything on the show. So now what he's doing is throwing everything out that he can. Like, we didn't show our real lives. We'd have trouble for 5 years. And so he can look good. And she goes, I know all about being coached and all about the lies. And now what he's doing to Rachel, which she's never going to call her Raquel again.
Right.
Now we see Rachel and she says, I'm preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. Somebody has told Raquel that the only color she should ever wear is seafoam green. Because she says the only color she owns is seafoam green.
Yeah. Yes.
Everything.
Yeah. And whatever. Her clothing choices don't do her any favors, but I'm going to just leave that there.
So we start off with Andy goes to the set. And so Schwartz comes out first like, hey, Andy, what's going on? Do a selfie? Selfie? Yeah, selfie. So they do a selfie. He's shoving food in his mouth. And Andy goes, here's a question for you, Tom. Were you silent or were you silenced? And he's like, both. Yeah, isn't this crazy? This is crazy, man, right? Where's my seat? Over here? Okay. LVP arrives in a dress that Giselle was maligned for on the Potomac reunion in blue. Same dress in black. Looks a lot better. In blue, it looked real cheap. In black, it looks a little better.
It's like manageable. Did I also see Kris Jenner wearing it at some point?
Yes, you did. In black. In black.
Yeah. It looked better on Kris, I think, than Lisa.
She's got the height.
She's got the height and that dark hair, and I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Ariana arrives in her revenge dress. Now, on the revenge dress, I have feelings. First of all, where's this girl going?
She's going to a reunion on Bravo.
Mhm. It's not a good sitting dress, I don't think.
I
It was a better
disagree.
standing.
I disagree.
better
I think it's a
standing dress.
fabulous standing dress,
Mhm.
but she pulled it off. I mean, her abs
Of course.
didn't like squish or anything.
No. Mm-mm.
I don't know. I thought she looked pretty good, and I liked the way the neckline came. It wasn't, I don't know. I just thought I liked it. I thought she just fucking slayed, and
Yeah.
I liked that she didn't look overly made. I mean, she clearly had makeup on, but she wasn't overly made up like Scheana Lala style.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's not really her style
it's not
either,
her
though.
style,
Yeah.
but it's a reunion. It's a revenge. Like I thought
Mhm.
the possibility for her to go overboard was there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what you're thinking with the dress. I don't know. I just thought the color red was great. I just was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, she killed. She killed. Yeah.
So Sandoval arrives, and the way he's walking up, it's like the president. It's like he's walking. He's 1 minute, he's walking.
Yeah.
He's 4 feet away, and here he comes, and he's there, and he's on set. He's like, dude, hey, dudes. So James is there and everything. James is on a 10, and that's how we like
Oh.
James. We like James on a 10. So we see Raquel in her trailer because of the restraining order, and she is doing the same thing that she's been doing. She's just head in her hands like Cupid doll, like, I'm so cute. Can you believe this? Wow.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What was Raquel thinking with that restraining order? Like she was obviously playing some kind of game. Maybe Sandoval suggested it, or like somebody said her family suggested it.
Yeah, Kristen said her family suggested it.
I'm just wondering, what did she think was going to happen there? Did she think that Scheana was going to get sidelined?
No, I think that she thought maybe she wouldn't have to go to the reunion.
At all? Okay. I was just wondering, like, what was she playing there? Like, what was the play?
And it turned out so horrible for her.
Yes,
she
it
didn't
did.
show up to court, and Scheana sat there all day listening to real domestic victims of violence. And, like she said, this just wasted the court's time. There are people in there that have real issues. And another thing was interesting, Kristen said on her podcast was, she said, it is very hard to get a temporary restraining order. She said, like, if you listen to Jackson Brittany's podcast, they have tried to get one for years against a stalker that they have, and they can't get one. She said, it's hard to get a temporary restraining order. So to get one, it is real serious, and you do have to respect the courts. And, all the stuff that she wrote down about being punched in the face and all that, it just was a flat out lie. It was a flat out lie. Yeah. She said, yeah, and Scheana says, yeah, I grabbed her phone and threw it, and maybe my giant nail scratched her in the face. But, Scheana with her scientific evidence is.
Oh, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit.
Yeah. It's scientifically impossible for me to make a fingernail. Andy points out to Schwartz, hey, Schwartz, how you doing? Listen, it's your first reunion that you're not sitting by Katie. And he's like, oh, wow, you're right, blah. And James goes, didn't even cross his mind. Didn't even cross his mind. And Lala's like, yeah.
Oh.
So Andy says, James, now that Jack's sitting here and Schwartz is, in the shitter, and Sandoval's obviously the most hated man in America, do you think you're now the number one guy in the group? And James is like, between this clown and this, asphalt, I don't know, poo-poo head. I mean, James is so unhinged. So unhinged. And Lala just laughs at everything he says, which just makes it worse.
Did you ever watch The Muppets when you were a little kid?
Yeah, of course.
Do the words Statler and Waldorf mean anything to you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's what I pictured, except way cuter.
Yeah.
Like the two old guys in the balcony of the theater constantly just razzing whatever was going on. Just look them up if you haven't seen them, if you're too young. That is what I thought of the whole time. I was like, they just cannot they have to get the last word. They were just on one. And I was like, Jesus, James, what are you doing?
Sandoval would just start talking. He'd be like, Andy asking him a question. He's like, well, Andy, he's like, boo, boo. And they were like, please let him answer. He's like, boo. It's like, oh my God, stop. And then Lala's over the side going, shame.
Where's the bell? I know. It was really, well, it kind of I was like, wow, this is going to be a long 3 episodes of this, because it's kind of like when you have a fight with your kid or something and they just don't shut up.
Yes, right.
And it's like, no, just stop. Honestly, just stop.
It's just hilarious.
Everybody's got to get their word in.
And Andy said, I believe it was Andy that said the reunion. No, it was the showrunner. It was Alex Baskin on Kate Casey's podcast, said that actually the reunion was way shorter than normal. Like normally they would set up like 10 hours, but they like did it in 8 because everybody was just ready to go. Ready to go. Nobody had to like warm up, get into it. No, they came out the gate.
Well, because don't you think part of that had to do with the timing of the scandal too? Like it was a couple days before that it broke.
It had been 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
So 2 weeks before, they were ready to go. They were ready.
And every day more information was coming out. Even still, more information is coming out every day.
Yeah.
So Andy starts talking to Sandoval. He's like, Sandoval, do you have anything to say? He starts crying. He's like, first of all, I just want to say, and James like, pull yourself together, man. Pull yourself together, you fucking crying pussy. And Ariana's like, yeah, this sad sack act is fucking ridiculous. And James starts screaming, crocodile tears, you pussy. And Sandoval's like, he asked me a question. Sandoval's like, I want to thank everybody being here for Ariana. And I love you and I apologize. And James is like, that didn't hit right for me. How about you, Lala? Lala's like, oh my God. Ariana's like, from the minute this broke, you've been victim blaming me and you could fuck off. Mm-hmm. So when you're hearing all this, fuck you, fuck off, when you're really hearing it on this pumped up, you're like, this is how you would talk to your friend or your enemy, or this is how you would talk in real life. So hearing it on Bravo and having it bleeped out, it really is pretty impactful when you hear these words.
Wow. Okay.
So
you talked me into it.
Yeah. So Lala says that Sandoval is just like Randall, just like him. She goes, I couldn't get him to stay home, but then once I said I was leaving, I couldn't get him to leave my house. Mm-hmm. And Ariana's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Can you believe they were in the same house, like living in the house? And I know a lot of people have had to do that, especially pandemic and
both your lawyers are saying don't leave.
Houses are expensive and all of this stuff. But like, oh God, I bet she just wanted to get out of there so bad.
Yeah. They're in the house right this minute, still living together.
No, I thought she moved the other day. She moved the other day, but it was also an ad for SoFi financing, at the same time. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, right.
So we'll see. So TBD. So, Lala's like, yeah, like he's a dangerous person, just like Randall. Like if somebody could sleep next to you every night and behave this way, and LVP is like, that's too much now, Lala. That's too much. And she goes, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. And LVP is like, well, I don't agree. She's like, I don't need you to agree. I didn't ask. I was like, okay. So they start fighting, and LVP is like, you need to calm it down, Lala. We're here for 10 hours, for God's sakes. And Lala's, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fucking go. And LVP is like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, what? Okay, so tell me this. Why was Lisa sitting? I feel like she was almost like co-chairing this thing with Andy, the way her chair was.
Well, they needed to balance because they needed somebody else because nobody wanted to be over there with Schwartz and Sandoval. They put poor Scheana on the end.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, I was like, come on.
But I don't know. Lisa just felt, well, we'll see how the rest of this goes. But she felt a little, I don't know, extraneous. I know it's her show and all that, but like, it doesn't have a ton to do with her.
No.
And she really did sort of insert herself into that particular conversation. And Lala clearly was just like, I don't care.
I don't care what you think. I don't care if you're the executive producer of this show. I'm not getting fired. I broke this shit wide open.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
Andy says to Sandoval, like, all right, so let's talk about what actually caused the demise of the relationship. He's like, well, we were just like having a divide and we were growing apart. And Ariana goes, yeah, it creates a divide in the relationship when you're fucking other people. Yeah, it does. That happens. And he goes, we hadn't had a lot of intimacy and like things were a problem for years. And Ariana says, not having intimacy doesn't excuse anything. Doesn't excuse anything. You could go through all the ins and outs of our relationship and the ups and downs. 9 years, you're going to have ins and outs and ups and downs, but it doesn't justify anything that you're saying. And they were all like, yeah, boo. I was like,
I know.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Listen, I wrote down several times in my notes, she is so good. It's almost like, she's got a writer helping her, but it's not. It's coming straight out of her head because, it's a reunion and we know how those go. I mean,
Yeah.
she's just been nothing but articulate, and
Quick.
you can
Quick.
feel you, and you can, and she's got a great vocabulary, frankly. Like,
Yes, she's
not a
very
lot of,
smart.
she stands out from a lot of these reality show people,
Mhm.
especially on this show. I'm not sure how smart they are, like
Mhm.
in real
Mhm.
life, but she clearly is. She's got a great vocabulary. You just really feel her pain, and she brings you along to her side because she can describe it so well.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
When she
I really like that about her. Really like that about her.
on that finale when she said, "I want you to hear my words."
Mhm.
And then when she said, "Do you have anything left to say to me before we never speak again?" I was like, "That's really good." He's like,
Mhm.
"No, man, dude." So, Scheana tells of a conversation with Ariana in January, and
Uh-huh.
Ariana said this on Call Her Daddy as well. In January, they'd been going to couples therapy, and things were going great, and they had been intimate many times in January. And Scheana says, I had this conversation with Ariana in January, and Sandoval's like scrunching his face, like, I don't, what? Like, I don't think so. January? And James, like, yeah. And like, something about like, who am I to you? And Sandoval's like, oh, you're James motherfucking Kennedy. And he goes, yeah, you were like a brother to me, like a big brother to me. And he's like, dude, how's I like a big brother to you? Like, I talk to you like once a month. And Ariana's like, you called yourself that. And then Andy's like, yeah, like you paid for his whole engagement. And so we see that, all that part of it. And he goes, you were like a really good friend to him. And James is like, oh, really? I talk to you like more than once a month. And James is like, you're the one who called me your brother. And Sandoval is really trying to downplay their friendship, which is a
Mhm.
total dick move. It's a total dick move. He's
It
like,
is.
you fucked you. He's like, oh, you fucked Kristen. You fucked Kristen. 5 days after, blah blah blah, with my condom. And James hops up and was like, I was 20 years old, dude. Like it's 9 years ago. And James hops up and gets in his face, and it is a lot of, I'll kick your ass, motherfucker. Fuck off. I'll
Mhm.
fucking kick your fucking ass. I'm bigger than you. And a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, and then Andy gets them sort of, gets it pulled together, and his cards
Yeah.
get messed up. The cards seem to go through a lot in this reunion.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what happens to them next. But so then James sits down, and it's like 4 seconds, and he's right back up.
Yeah.
Like say another, like Sandoval says, say one more thing and I'm going to kick your ass. And
Yeah.
James gets right back up. And I was like, I kind of want them to beat up each other and see where this goes, because this is a lot of big talking guys with really good hair.
But they're also very lithe, like dancers' bodies. They're very like
Well, that's what I'm saying.
muscular and thin. Yeah,
who
both
would,
of them.
I feel like they'd both run away. Like, okay, no hitting in the face.
Well, of course
No,
not.
no hitting in the penis.
All right. No hitting in the face for sure. Too
No
much
hitting in
work.
the face. That's a rule. No closed fist hitting. Like, I feel like
Right.
there'd be a bunch of rules, but
Don't mess up my gel polish.
lots of like grandstanding, peacocking here
Mhm.
in this moment. But I don't know. I was like,
Well,
okay.
James hops up and gets in his face, and he's like, and your stupid band sucks. And then he's like, you're just a fucking bitch. And Andy pulls him over and pushes him into his seat and says, stay in your fucking chair, dude. That is what
Mhm.
Andy says in his face. And when he says that, I got a screenshot of it. James is looking at the cameraman like, uh-oh.
Mhm.
And then James walks off yelling, you're a pussy dude and a worm with a mustache. And Tom says, you call yourself an artist? You've had the same haircut for years. And James goes, it's iconic. It's iconic.
It works for me.
And then Lala yells at Sandoval. I was like, why are you mentioning Kristen? Like, we're not going back into ancient history. And he's like, because like he was saying, and then she's like, no, you can't mention Kristen. And she goes, Raquel was going to be his wife. They were going to get married. Ariana, you've been with for 9 years. It's not the same as the thing with Kristen. It's not the same. Okay. So,
Oh yeah. So can I go back just real quick to that?
Yeah.
Better communication, intimate in January 2023.
Uh-huh.
They flashed to Raquel in the trailer.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, did she know that they were still sleeping together?
And went to couples therapy in January.
Yeah. Did she know that? Like,
No. Because she says, I want him to answer that question.
yeah, right. And that's when
Yeah.
the kerfuffle happens.
Yeah.
And
And
then,
Raquel says, I'd like him to answer that question. She
yeah,
didn't
well,
know.
you know what? Maybe Tom was trying to like deflect that and move on or something. And James took the bait. but then they did
Yeah,
come
he
back.
can't keep
They
his
came
lies
back
straight.
to it.
Yeah,
He
can't
really
keep his lies
can't.
straight.
He really can't. And I'm like, oh God.
So he comes back and sits down, and they're like, you just. And Andy goes, you can say whatever you want. Say whatever you want, but stay in your fucking chair. And he goes, okay, Andy. And then LVP goes, if not, you're going to have to go to your dressing room like Raquel. And he goes, oh, James going to have to go to a timeout. Going to have to go to the timeout chair, Lisa. And Lisa's like, oh my God. So Andy goes, okay, Tom, so why didn't you come clean? Why didn't you come clean about what was going on? And that's another thing. Raquel's like, puts her hands in her head in her hands like a little girl, like watching TV, and goes, yeah, I want to hear the answer to this too. And he goes, I was too scared. Like there was a lot going on. I was too scared. And I just didn't want to add to what she was going through. And then Schwartz says, in July, Sandoval told me he was unhappy. And after the Mondrian that's when Jamie Allover and her friend said that they recorded them after the Mondrian, after Guys Night. He said he had confided in Raquel that night. And then now Sandoval said that then the next See You Next Tuesday, which was just the next Tuesday, was that Monday? This was Tuesday. I don't know. That's when they had the bone in the car. And he says, but late in August, after the wedding, is when they were hooking up. But they were hooking up at the wedding. Everybody knows that. And then we see, he says, so you knew in late August. And Sandoval goes, no, it was like January. And Schwartz goes, yeah. So then Andy says, now when we saw that scene of you guys at the food truck and you said, I think she has a crush on someone else. Did you know then that it was Sandoval? And he says, yes. And did you know when you went glamping and when you made that comment, like Raquel has a type, it's taken. Did you know then? And he says, yes. And Sandoval's like, no, dude, like January? Mm-mm. Totally. They're all like, oh, you didn't get your story straight? You didn't get your coaching in line?
Well, so, right, exactly. So my question is, so they hooked up after or See You Next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Which is around the same time as the Mondrian. It's all in the same week.
Well, right. But then and then they stopped. Dude, we stopped. We stopped.
But they had a one-night stand, then they stopped.
They were, when was the wedding?
August.
Well, so they stopped for what? I mean, maximum of 2 weeks. Because
and they did it again at the wedding.
They did screw at the wedding, right? Because it was that thing where like nobody knew where she was for 3 hours and blah, blah.
And Patrick and Paul saw them kissing by the elevator.
Right. Right. So August is not 5 months long. August is 4 weeks long. So like whenever it happened, and then they stopped. And it sounded like, they wanted us to believe it was, the two of them wanted us to believe it was like months that they stopped. And then they just couldn't keep their hands off each other. Well, they didn't stop for that long.
It's a few weeks.
Max. Like, come on.
And Sandoval, now at Scheana's wedding, is actively encouraging Schwartz to make out with her. And we've already heard Patrick and Paul say that the producers made them give up their good table because it was the best table for everyone to see them kissing. And so Sandoval had already banged her in the car and was going to bang her the next day before the wedding and is encouraging his best friend to make out with her. And, even Lisa Vanderpump's like, that was pretty strange. That was very strange. And he was like, yeah. And they're all like, he was just a decoy because Schwartz is in on it. They're a total, best friends will do anything for each other. And it was a decoy. And they're both like, no, it wasn't. It totally was. Of course it was. And then Schwartz is like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I didn't mind that kiss. Like, it was kind of fun. Like, I hadn't kissed anybody. And once again, cue to Raquel in her trailer with her head in her hands, like, oh, he liked me too. Like,
yeah, she's like giggling. She's like weirdly giggling. And I'm like, oh, girl, you're hurting yourself. I mean,
you're thinking this is funny. These two guys wanted to bang you and you're friends with two of them. What?
But did Schwartz know then at the,
yes.
But so then why would he like,
no, Schwartz did not know at the wedding.
Okay.
He did not know at the wedding.
After.
He knew after the wedding. And then he realized, of course, he was a decoy.
Right.
So now we talk about Miami Girl. And why did Ariana always know about it and excuse it? and let it go. And she goes, well, at the time, we weren't totally exclusive at the time. And so whatever. And I saw that I was going to be the rest of my life with him, and I saw the best in him. So I didn't want everyone else to see that. And Tom says, I had been with Kristen for 4 or 5 years, and I just wanted to be single. And so I did that. And, it was a mistake or whatever. But yeah, like Ariana always knew the truth. Tom again tries to bring up Kristen, and he's trying to say, well, she was just on a rampage about Miami Girl. And everybody again is like, boo, shut up. Quit talking about Kristen. Quit talking about Kristen. And Lala goes, oh yeah. So it was fine because you weren't committed to Ariana to cheat with her with Miami Girl, but it's okay to cheat when you're in a 9-year relationship. That's when you fuck your friend.
With your best friend. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And Sandoval's like, no, I'm not saying it's excusable. It's inappropriate. And they're like, oh my God, shut up. Boo, shame. So now we have a commercial, and Andy comes back. It says,
wait. Can we talk about the commercial for 1 second?
Okay, go ahead.
I was texting you in real time. Okay, you guys, it's a Bic razor commercial.
Shot in their home,
in their bathroom.
Yeah.
She looks so cute, first of all. Second of all, the lighting is great. Third, they're doing some double entendre with the script, and it's like, when you just feel clogged and you need it, and then it's like get the hair out of your razor, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the end that's the thing for me. So I took a picture of it. We can post it if you want to, but and it's like Bic for men and women, and then in parentheses in very small type it says everyone except what's her name.
What's his name?
What's his name? Sorry, what's his name? And I was like,
yeah, because they didn't want to take it a bridge too far to kick Raquel when she's down, but they did kick Tom, and that's fine.
I was like, whoa, this is unbelievable. But I thought that was pretty clever, but that stuck with me. I thought that was cute. And I'm thrilled that she's getting some cash out of this deal, because most of the time when a girl gets cheated on and humiliated and all of that, she doesn't make a bunch of money with, like commercials and things like that. So I'm all for it. And I wish every girl got sponsorship money when she got cheated on.
Think about how rich I would be. All right. So Andy asked Katie why she divorced Tom. And she's like, he prioritized everything over me. Every friend, every bar, strangers, everything. And we've seen this for years from him, right? He's just so lost. And she said, and I had to make a really hard choice that I didn't want to ever have to make, but I did. I had to make a choice. And he says, I almost lost my dad, and my brother had cancer. It was a terrible time in my life trying to open this bar. But no, I wasn't surprised. But it was a terrible time in my life. Now, on Heather McDonald's podcast, Jax said Sandoval's mother has moved to North Carolina, and the rest of the family lives in Florida. So it sounds like the mom left the dad. I don't know what he meant.
Sandoval's or Schwartz?
So sorry, I misspoke. Schwartz's. So Schwartz's mother moved to North Carolina, where the rest of the family lives in Florida. Mm-hmm. So I guess that means it sounds like to me she left the family. I have no idea. I'm just going on what Jack said. Not always a reliable narrator. And that said that all 3 of his brothers are alcoholics, and that his dad had been sick. So it sounds like Sandoval had a lot of family stuff on him, and it sounds like he probably sounds like from what Jack said, he gives a lot of money to his family. And so it was a bad time in his life, but he wasn't surprised. And Katie says, I just needed the comfortability of knowing that you weren't going to hook up with anybody in the group. So we made an agreement. We sat and talked about how moving into our friendship, basically saying we're still going to be on this show. We're still in the same friend group that we've been in for 10 years, 15 years really. So I needed the comfortability of knowing you're not going to hook up with people in the group. And he was like, but you were dating people while I was in the house. And she was like, right, but you didn't know anybody. And we were trying to sort out the house, and we agreed to live in the house. Everything was amicable until they started filming. It sounds like that. Mm-hmm. And she goes, you can't have an opinion on cheating when you were cheating on me when we were together. He's like, not when we were married. Not when we were married. Which I think he really is probably counting their official marriage in Vegas, not they're in the Forest Wednesday wedding, because he never filed that paperwork.
Right.
So he's probably using that as a caveat, because I think he did. They were at some event in Mexico, remember, he disappeared.
Yeah. Right. And it I don't know. It just always seemed like it always seemed like he's looking for like a mom type
Yeah.
person.
Mm-hmm.
And she's definitely like got her shit together. And, it just wasn't, I mean, they lasted a long time, but it just didn't ever feel quite right to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but she looks great too, by the way. I like the
She looks great.
haircut. Love that
Mm-hmm.
little haircut. Very cute.
Yeah. So she says, so he goes, well, it's a double standard, like that I couldn't date in the group, but like you could date, we're in the house. She's like, nope. All I asked was just not to do this on camera, not to do in our friend group, whatever. And Tom goes, I'm sorry that I did that in Mexico with Raquel, but like it was like liberating. And Lala goes, that is sick.
Uh-huh.
That is sick. You're sick. And Sandoval points out that he had this one night stand with Raquel before that, and Schwartz didn't know yet. And LVP is like, it is sick, I have to say. So Andy points out that everybody in the group has had infidelities. Everybody in the group is a cheater except for Katie and Lisa Vanderpump. And Katie and LVP are like, high five up top.
Yeah.
Although I don't think Scheana's ever been a cheater.
Yes, she has. That's why this whole show exists.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah. Okay, right.
Come on now.
Before we knew her, right. So, also I'd like to say Stassi was never a cheater.
Well, she's not on the show.
Right. Never a cheater. So Andy asked about Joe. Now, Joe, we know, was Kristen Doute's very good friend and is a total psycho. And all of them have said, and Kristen has said, if somebody can make me look like the sane one, she's a crazy bitch. Yeah. So Andy asked about Joe, Schwartz's roommate, and he's like, yeah, no, we were never in a relationship. It just turned out like she was living with me for a while, and it turned into a situationship, like friends with benefits. Like it was, the terms were agreed upon, whatever. And Katie goes, she's a total creep. No one likes her. She's a total fucking weirdo. And he's like, stop, Katie. Why are you like all in like the internet comments being like a troll? And, you're going to watch out. You're going to get a cease and desist. And she's like, ooh, okay, whatever. So then they talk about this trip to Big Bear in January. Now, there was a TikToker or somebody that saw them, the four of them in January, which was Schwartz and Joe, Raquel, and Sandoval in January in Big Bear, and took a selfie with like the four of them. So they were together in Big Bear in January. And Sandoval and Schwartz, like, it wasn't a double date. It wasn't like, I thought I was going snowboarding with Sandoval. And like, she showed up. Like, I didn't know. And James is like, Raquel doesn't even like snowboarding. And Ariana's like, but if like girls were there and invited, I wonder why I wasn't there. I like snowboarding. And Schwartz is like, I don't know. Like, dude, I don't know. So James and Ariana again start going, boo, shame, boo. And Ariana's just rolling her eyes. So now we move on to the subject of Schwartz and Sandy's. And Katie and Ariana look at each other and smirk. And then they talk about why didn't they serve snacks and then move into food, just get it open, because they kept having to redo the menu and the chefs and everything. And LVP is like, well, honestly, like they didn't know what they were doing. Like, how could they though? Like, I tried to give them this experience with Tom, but I gave them the 5%. And Andy's like, I mean, 5%. And she goes, it's a $5 million restaurant and they each had $50,000 in, and we gave it back to them. So really, basically, they own none of it now. Okay.
Yeah. So I got that little bit too.
Yeah, they own nothing. Mm-hmm. And also about the merch, when Ariana goes, that's not even Tom merch. That's his merch on his website.
Yeah.
It's not even their merch. So they say business at Schwartz and Sandy's has been good, but there have been a few instances, of course, of people coming in trying to boycott. There is a TikTok that's going around of a woman in her shame. What's the show?
Game of Thrones?
No.
You mean Shame.
Shame. It's from fuck. What's her name from the Scientologist that was on Mad Men? It's on the show with the red hoods.
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss, that show. It's going to come to us. It's going to come. Anyway, that's what Shame is from.
No, I thought that was Game of Thrones. It's not.
Well, I don't watch either show, so I don't even know.
I don't either. Maybe I'm full of shit.
Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Nailed it 2 minutes later.
Shame.
It's the woman in the thing going, shame. People are standing outside of Schwartz and Sandy's going, shame, and the outfits and everything. So they're like, yeah, everything's great over there. And Lala goes, all right, the food is good. He's like, thanks, Lala. Thanks, brah. Thanks. So, and then we see in the mirror, like there was some graffiti in the bathroom. I was like, it looks like lipstick on a mirror. Okay, let's
Yeah.
not go graffiti. So people tried to boycott, and in the tip, I got a tip for you. Be nicer to Ariana on the tip line. And Ariana says, I will not be friends with anyone that has been to that restaurant. I will not be friends with anyone who is friends with them. And that's it. That's the line I'm drawing. And Lisa's like, what about me? What about me? And she goes, I don't know. And they kind of go back and forth. And Ariana's like, I will always respect you as a businesswoman. I would, of course, never think I could tell you how to do business. And I respect you. And so Lisa's like, so you will be friends with me if I continue to stay in business with him. Why do you give a shit?
Well, I was just going to say, that bugged me. Yeah. I was like, first of all, well, maybe Lisa does care. Lisa wants to be friends with young, hip people.
Mm-hmm,
okay. She also wants to feel like the matriarch.
Mm-hmm.
And when Ariana said, like, it kind of slipped in, but I heard it and I wrote it down. Well, we just won't be as close.
Mm-hmm.
Or like,
she said, I won't confide in you. I won't confide in you.
Yes. And Ariana has every right to say that.
She has to draw a line. Yeah.
And if that's the line that she chooses to draw with Lisa, like,
yeah,
I'm fine with that. I mean, yeah, Lisa's done a lot.
Yeah, she's going to bully her into confiding in her.
Well, I know. And like, I mean, Lisa's choosing a horse essentially here, right? A little bit, but she wants to pick all the horses, and she can't. She wants all the horses to get the carrots out of her.
But Ariana's like, no.
And Ariana is very confident in herself at this point, and she should be.
And she should be.
Yeah.
So now we talk about the sandwich shop, something about her. And this was filmed in March. So he says, when are you going to open? They said, right now we're thinking end of May. It seems like it's on track. People have been by there and been posting that like it's ready to go. And there'll be a grand opening at some point. I had to guess they'll wait till probably the third episode of the reunion or something to capitalize on it.
Well, I hope if it's ready, they open it before that, because that's going to be like mid-June.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that they would open it when it's ready, because I mean that rent has to be so expensive. Like, just start making money at this place.
So speaking of making money, they said they made $200,000 on sweatshirts and hats before they even opened. And when she said that, Lisa's like, well, that's plenty of money to get it opened then. And she was like, yeah, people wanted to know how to support us, and we already had merch. So we said, let's just go ahead and launch it. And then she goes, oh, Andy, I brought you some merch so you can replace that disgusting sweater that someone else brought you. And, Andy gave that sweatshirt to his mother. It's so funny. You see her wearing it. Like, I don't know what this is, Andy. So funny. Hilarious.
Hey, speaking of merch, check out our store. We haven't quite hit the $200,000 mark.
Oh, any day now. Any day now.
Any day now. But no, really, it is kind of fun. I keep adding dumb things to the store, so just never forget. Just go check it out. Yeah.
A, B, C. Always be closing.
That's right.
Producer Ingrid.
That's right.
So Scheana says, they talk about the whole thing about Scheana and Lala, not getting along last year because Lala pointed out all the terrible stuff about Brock when, of course, Lala was living with the monster. And she was like, don't you talk about my baby daddy. And she says, yeah, I just bought the house next door to her in Palm Springs. And she says, really, this is, predicated on our daughters being the same age. And they're kind of creating, they've joked about they're creating a little commune with like Brock as the polygamist or whatever, joking, like, and Andy says, well, Katie, has Scheana and Lala's friendship affected your friendship with Lala? Because Katie and Lala are really close. It's kind of confusing, this. And Katie points out, in the past, Lala has really hated Scheana, but now they're getting along. So, and then Scheana says she really regrets what she did about encouraging Schwartz and Raquel to kiss. Raquel was lying to her, obviously. And then we flashed to Raquel in her dressing room going, and she says, I took everything she said to be the truth. And because I've been bullied by these girls quite a bit, I wanted to stick up for Raquel, and I didn't want her to go through the same path that I had been down with these girls. So I took everything that she said is true. And now, of course, I know it wasn't, and I was lied to. And Scheana, we see next week, she really cries a lot. And Lala was like, she's been through a lot with this, because Scheana is the reason Ariana was even on the show. Ariana was Scheana's like backup dancer on Good as Gold, you know? And Ariana has said she never wanted to be on the show. She, was always hiding her face when she was on camera in those first couple of seasons. And she says, felt like I had to protect Raquel because I've been in that position. And Sandoval's like, yeah, but like, to Lala, because you use Raquel as a scapegoat to like not go to Scheana's events. Like, I can't support her. And she was like, both of you have always been triggering to me, and now I know why. Okay, so shut the fuck up, Sandoval. Like, don't talk to me. Don't look in my direction. And Lala goes into this huge thing about like, didn't your mom teach you sticks and stones can break your bones? Words will never hurt me. My words may be cutting, but I've never fucked anybody else's man. And they're like, whoa, blah, blah, blah. And Randall, she's like, don't bring up Randall. Don't bring up Randall. I'll fucking kill you. Lala gets all street like she does. Everyone stops yelling, and James gets up and walks off again. And he's like, oh, God, where's he going now? And LVP is like, James, and walks off. So that's the end of it. Mm-hmm. And what we see for next week is we see, very strangely, James and Allie sitting there. And James says what we assume is about Raquel. Her mother always wanted to talk to me about my penis size. And Allie's like, I didn't like that. I don't like that. That's weird. And then we see Scheana crying and Lala hugging her, or maybe Schwartz is hugging her and saying like she's really been through a lot with all of this. We see Raquel come out in her seafoam green dress, and like, hello, Andy, and Ariana not looking at her. And what else did we see? I didn't write that.
I know. I didn't either. But okay. So my last note was James is a drama queen. That's not news to anybody. But how are they going to move forward with this show? I mean, I know they have not picked up cameras again because Alex Baskin, the producer, said there's such a bombshell in this reunion
that even the cast doesn't know.
The cast doesn't know. And is it happening next week? Because maybe that's why Scheana was crying. I don't really know.
Because Andy shows her the restraining order, and that's why she cries.
Oh, that's why she's crying. Okay.
No, I think if they're smart at all, it'll be on part 3.
Well, of course. I mean, yeah.
It'll be the beginning of part 3, and then whatever it is, we'll do the rest of part 3. And then there's a never before seen kind of episode after that.
Christ. Yeah. It's never going to end. But
no, it's never going to end.
But so my question, okay, so there's this huge bombshell. They wanted to give them time before they picked up cameras and started filming again. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Well, when they do that, if they do that, who's gonna shoot with who? Because Ariana will not shoot with Sandoval or Raquel. Mm-hmm. It sounds like maybe Raquel and Sandoval are broken up now.
Mm-hmm. He's with this new chick in Texas.
Yeah. Well, he's got a type. We'll just put it that way. Mm-hmm. Katie and Schwartz don't seem like they want to film.
But they will.
Scheana and Sandoval aren't filming together probably because she's like, I can't be friends with you and I'm really going to miss you.
The only person that's going to film with Sandoval is Schwartz or Raquel if she comes back.
Right. So like, how is that going to work?
Well, my prediction is that, and I've said this before, that the whole season will be a redemption of them trying to get Schwartz and Sandy's back on track after the scandal, and it'll be everybody else dealing with the aftermath of it. 100% Jackson and Brittany are going to come back. 100%.
Okay.
Kristen's going to come back. She's not going to come back full time, but she'll come back as like a friend of. And that's what I think is going to happen. They're going to bring back some of these OGs to pick up the pieces. And it's going to be all about Ariana dating and living her best life. It's going to be pretty separated, 2 separate shows going on with some people going in between. Going in between will have to be Schwartz and Katie because Katie has to deal with Schwartz because of their dogs and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe every so often she'll be like tricked by Sandoval showing up. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting...
But Sandoval, on with this terrible band touring and singing wherever he goes, Raquel's not the one for me. Schwartz's mom has got it going on.
Yeah.
Can't you see Raquel's not the one for me? He's living for this attention.
Yeah.
it's just like a toddler. They don't care if it's good attention or bad attention as long as it's attention, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And any
That's
press
true.
is good press in
And
his mind.
and there's
Yeah.
always going to be a girl out there who finds him, dangerous and bad boy and sexy and whatnot.
In that finale, when
So
they showed it again last night of Raquel actually saying in that finale, like, I mean, I just am thinking, like, what kind of a person am I to get with somebody who could do this to someone they love so much? Like, maybe you would turn around and do it
do
to
it to me.
me. Let's not even talk about your friendship with Ariana. She's the only one that
Who
stood up for you in this group
exactly.
and
Exactly.
accepted you when you were with James and everybody hated you.
Right. And now we don't know where she is now, right?
Well, she's definitely in the Tucson, Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona area at her
Okay.
grandma's. There's lots of reports of her being cited there. Rumors of her being pregnant, allegedly. I don't know if it's true, if it's not, or if that's the bombshell that we're going to hear.
That's what I'm wondering. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty major. And if she is kind of like hiding out someplace, it would make sense because she wouldn't
Hmm.
want to be out there showing, right? Like
Hmm.
before the bomb. I don't really know. I don't know. These people all seem like they're 25 and they're like 40.
I would encourage a lot of you to go and listen, no matter what you think of Stassi, go and listen to the one podcast she did with Taylor Strucker uh, after the scandal all broke. And she has never done a podcast since leaving the show, being fired from the show. She's never done a podcast about VPR at all.
Right.
But she was like, I had to talk about this because she was so shook and upset and disgusted by the whole thing. It was very interesting. What she said was, what people have been on reality TV for this long, their ego is so skewed and their worldview is so skewed that it's very hard for them to understand this is not real life. And people in real life don't behave this way and turn on their friends and cheat on each other and cheat with their friends. And that's not real life. And when you're on reality TV and you're being hyped up by these producers and paid a
Mhm.
lot and being rewarded for your bad behavior, there's no reason for you to change. You just want to act worse and worse so you stay on the show and get more money. And she was like, looking back on it, like that's not real life. And she's never, she was like, I've never been so grateful to be fired from a job in my life.
Yeah.
So it is interesting when you think of this cast that's been on TV for so long. It seems like, is Katie the only normal one of this group?
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
God.
I've always liked Katie. I've never been a Katie hater. Never.
I
I
mean,
will say I didn't like it when she pierced the middle part of her nose. I didn't
yeah, I'm
like
not a
that,
fan of that either,
but
but I don't
that's
hate
her
her.
choice.
I don't know, I'm lukewarm. None of them seem like the kind of gals that I would
Hang with?
want to hang out with.
Let me think about that. I would want to hang with Ariana, but I think she's maybe even a little too tough for me. Seems like
Yeah.
a good time. She got
Yeah,
mad.
she
I
seems
wouldn't want to be on the
fun.
receiving end of that
She seems
tongue.
fun and she seems interesting, but like maybe there's a wall up a little bit. And maybe that's because she's been on reality TV for so long. I don't know.
Mhm.
At this point, how do they find new housewives? How do they find new people for these things? Because, well, what
Yeah.
am I asking? We live in America in 2023. People just want to be famous,
People are
I
dying to be on
guess,
this show. Yeah.
and make money doing
Yeah.
basically nothing. I mean, sorry, but it's true. There's not a ton of talent.
But it's like James got on the show. He was a busboy, and
Uh-huh.
James got on the show because he started dating Kristen,
Yeah.
right? And then Raquel got on the show because she started dating James,
Right.
right? And now
Well, and I
Allie's on the
think
show for dating
right.
James.
I think that's the thing. It's like, do you take those people at face value? Like, oh, she's dating James. We should put her on the show. Or is it like she went and sought James out?
Raquel did.
Yeah.
Raquel
Right. I
did
mean,
seek
like
James out.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's not organic. It's like when you go back and watch those early seasons of this show or any of the house, like especially Orange County, Jersey, before Housewives really, or New York even, when
Hmm.
before Housewives really hit, like that's real stuff.
Right. That's why it works.
That's why it works. And it's fun-ish to watch now, but oh man, it was real good back then.
2 days ago, Anna was like, "Hey, what's our Peacock login?" So I had to go figure it out. And she was
Uh-huh.
like, "I'm gonna start watching Vanderpump Rules from episode 1, season 1." I was like, "Oh, jealous."
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah. She's at dinner like, "Did Jax get a girl pregnant in Vegas?" I go, "I don't know." It's one of the great mysteries of our time because he lies a lot.
Yeah.
He says though, he's like, "I've never been wrong about anything on the show." He's like, "Go back and look at everything I've said. I've never been wrong." I was like, "Have you changed that much?" I don't think so. I think you're
No.
still believing your own bullshit, but makes for good television.
Yeah. Well, I'll be interested to see what happens, and I'll be interested to see what the bombshell is. And
Ingrid,
it better be a bombshell. It better not be some of this like
Jackson, Brittany are coming back.
bullshit that's
Woo!
like
Yeah.
or like something like
And now we're waiting on it.
it better be something real.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Somebody better be going to jail. No, I'm kidding.
Somebody better be pregnant, damn it.
That's right. Somebody better be pregnant or murdered at the end of this reunion. No, I'm a horrible person.
So, guys, you know that we have what we call Pink Shade Prime, and that is Supercast and Patreon. And right now, we're running a deal on Supercast. Ingrid, tell them what it is.
Okay. If you are a current patron, you should have on Patreon. You should have gotten an email from me earlier this week. So check your spam and check all that. There's a special deal just for you. But all of our other listeners until May 31st can get 15% off their first month of subscription. Plus everybody always gets 7 days free on Supercast, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff over at Supercast. We're working on some other things. We might look into a Discord channel.
Yeah,
server.
I'd love people's opinions on Discord because a lot of people have it. And the only time I've ever used Discord was when I had to do like virtual teacher meetings for Anna's high school. And it was like, go in this room, go in that room. And it was, I was like, grandma's too old for this. So maybe if people could tell me how they use Discord, how they like it, because there's different rooms you go in and read all the chats. It's like Reddit, I guess, but it's live. I don't know.
And you have to be invited by us. So Discord would be only for our Supercast people.
Okay.
Which is another great reason to go over there. But there's also an Ask Me Anything section over on Supercast, and you can post questions other people might answer, or we might answer it in a podcast, and then we can link to that. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff happening. And I also just want to like remind everybody, and I know I was being silly about it before, but like our website has a great store. It just does. If you're looking for a present for somebody, or you just want to browse around, you don't have to buy anything. Just like browse around. It's kind of fun to look at the stuff. And I'm always taking suggestions for products or things that you might want in the store. If I can make it happen, I will make it happen. So just keep your ideas flowing. Or if you have a burning question about the podcast, or you have just like a piece of gossip to share, or you have a really great next door, you should email it to us.
Here it comes, guys.
Info. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. info@pinkshadepodcast.com.
Yeah.
We won't read your name if you don't want us to.
Oh yeah, sure.
We would love some juicy gossip about your neighbors or your family or your bitch sister-in-law.
Bitch. Yeah. Or as Amy Phillips calls herself on her podcast, this is your bitch wife. This is your bitch wife. My bitch wife. You guys, please follow us on Instagram @PinkShadePod. It's actually kind of important to follow us over there because when we're doing things like ads or live moments, things like that, they're very into what your Instagram numbers are. You guys, I'm aware in life that that's not the measure of anything, but if you could just, grab your mom's phone, grab your dog's phone, do you have a work Instagram, just follow us over there. And then you can mute us and don't have to look at it if you don't want. But we just need the real followers, not ones you can buy, because we're not about that. Follow us on Pink Shade Pod. Also, TikTok is Pink Shade Podcast. We have a good one coming out this week. What else, Ingrid? Oh, over on Prime, we are covering 90 Day Love in Paradise. Also now Jewish matchmaking that we'll be covering with Kimberly and Katie of Date with Dateline. Katie's coming on with Kimberly to talk about Jewish matchmaking.
And that is exclusively
on Supercast.
On Supercast.
Yes, it is. And that's what we're covering. Coming up over there is going to be You're Not Gonna Tempt Me On. Temptation Island.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited about Temptation Island.
Oh God. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, enjoy that. Enjoy that very much. Any interesting special guests coming up that you can talk about?
I have those 2 girls coming on from Access Hollywood, and I've got the Real Housemates of New York. They have a great Instagram and podcast. We met them on the street in New York.
Yes.
I'm trying to get them on. And I think I'm trying to get Ryan Bailey on to do one of these Vanderpump things with me.
Oh my God. That guy pumps out so much content.
I know. Does he have time to even speak to me? I don't know.
I don't know. But you know what? He should. He should speak to you.
Do you know, why don't you tell really fast in this last couple of minutes, tell the listeners about the video that your sister, Benedict Arnold, sent to Ryan Bailey.
Okay. My sister went to the Taylor Swift concert in Nashville, not the Sunday one, the Friday one. And by some weird thing that happened, she was in the front row with her daughter, who's 11, first concert, huge deal, right? Big deal. She was the one who took the video of the security guard, the cute guy security guard who sang every word to every song. She texted me from the concert and said, this guy knows every single word. So then she thought, oh, I'm going to send this video to Ryan Bailey, which she did. He posted it. And he said, oh, one of my listeners, Leah, sent me this video. And I posted underneath, that's my sister. And then
did he say, Isabel, I didn't know you had a sister named Leah?
Yeah, that was fun. And then the video went viral, completely viral. So now there are other people who have put their videos out there, but hers was the first, and it's got that red tint to it. You'll tell which one it is. He's been on TMZ. He's been on Nashville News. The video's been seen on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, millions of times. So I have now stopped talking to my sister. No, I'm kidding.
Perfect. Perfect. This podcast comes first before your familial relations.
That's right.
I'm so mad at Leah for saying that to Ryan and not me. Now, listen, we love Ryan, and he does have a bigger platform, and he does have 400 times more Instagram followers. So, as far as that, it was a great move.
I think the reason she did it was because didn't his sister and his niece go to Taylor Swift in someplace?
No idea.
I think he talks about Taylor sometimes, and I think that's why she sent it to him, because we don't really talk about Taylor over here.
Doesn't matter. If you've got a video you think is going to go viral.
Oh, we had no idea. We had no idea.
Listen, Ryan doesn't need the Instagram followers or the viral videoness. I need it. And I would say it right to his face.
I know.
All right. Well, speaking of, I gotta probably send him a text. All right. Well, anyway, thank you to Ingrid for filling in today. I really appreciate it. And maybe we'll have you back at the end of the VPR to give a wrap up of what you think.
Oh, wow. I'm sure people are just hanging on the edge of their seats for that.
I'm sure they are. Ingrid has a pillow behind her that looks just like her dog. And every time I see it, it scares me. And she also has Timothy Chalamet in the background as a full-size cardboard cutout. And who's the other dude you got back there?
Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. No idea. That's for the young people. I don't know.
Well, 2 years ago when, we had to have our prom in our cul-de-sac when my daughter was a senior, I put the Tom Holland up outside our front door with a sign that said, it would be marvelous if you went to prom with me, like a promposal. I know.
Yeah, I got it.
Anyway, I can take a selfie and I can post that too.
It's okay. All right, guys. We'll talk to you this weekend on Supercast and Patreon for 90 Day Love in Paradise with Amy. I'll talk to you also on Supercast about Jewish matchmaking, and I'll talk to you next week. I'll have Keisha on for Match Me Abroad and Kimberly for 90 Day the other way. And Bravo Breakdown, I believe, is with the Access Hollywood Girls. Okay, thanks, Ingrid. Bye.
Bye.